Hello grade 8s and welcome back to WorksheetCloud. This is grade 8 English, and again, if you have a question or just need some help, please email us grade8@worksheetcloud.com and we'll be happy to help you. Good morning all you beautiful souls. And today this message is quite apt and important for me. Be kind to yourself today. Sometimes we are very hard on ourselves, or we put a lot of pressure, or we have that little person inside of us telling us something else. So I love coffee. I feel like I need to drink about 5 cups today. I'm struggling a little bit. I'm very tired, but I know that you guys will help me through this. And I know that some of you also feel like that. You know, sometimes we just wake up and we're tired. So I do apologize if I am not bright and chipper this morning, but I'm going to do my best. Please grab a notebook and a pen for me. I'd really appreciate that. Today we're going to be looking at comprehension. Now, it's so important that you know the techniques that we use in a comprehension. Now, you've been doing this since primary school or even longer. So you should know the ins and the outs, but sometimes we forget about it. There's nothing worse when one of my learners will tell me, "Oh, I'm writing paper 1, language paper. Yeah, I'm not going to study for it. It's what..." Okay, I understand that, you know, maybe physics or maths or history is more important, but it's really important that you practice these skills or know these skills or study these skills. Now, I've got a picture here with lots of books. And a question parents always ask me when they come and see me for parent-teacher meetings. I'm really sorry about the noise. If you can hear the weed eater, I do apologize. He has been going since yesterday, and I think that's also maybe why I need 5 cups of coffee, because it is continuous. But I'm trying to be positive. Shame. It's only him, and he has to do the whole complex, so I'm really sorry about the poor video quality, if you can hear that. Okay, so comprehension, where was I? Parents. Okay, so parents always ask me, how can my learner do better, or how can their child, do better? And I always say, read. And I know you guys don't like me for it, but unfortunately, it's like practicing a sport. If you want to get good at hockey, you need to be able to do that dribble thing, that Indian, whatever you call it. I think it's called Indian dribble. Now, I wasn't a very good hockey player because I didn't master those skills. I just went to the trainings every Monday and Thursday, and then I'd play the match. So if I wanted to get better, and I knew that was my weak point, I would have to go on a Saturday, or not a Saturday because that's when you play matches, but a Sunday or whenever, Tuesday, when you have time to go and practice that skill. If you read, it helps you with your vocabulary, so you are exposed to different types of words, and hopefully when you're exposed to them, you're looking them up, you're going, what does this word mean? And also, the more you read, the better you are at it. So when you come to an exam and you have to read a comprehension, your brain, everything is so switched on because you're used to reading for fun. It's quick, you can do it. But I find that a lot of my learners don't read. And so they always say, because I always tell them, you need to read the comprehension twice. You need to understand, what is this article about? And they always say to me, ma'am, I never have enough time. Or they just want to rush through it. And again, like I spoke about yesterday in the summary, they want to just sleep afterwards. Or draw, I don't know. Get the exam over and done with. So a comprehension always has a title, and it gives a hint of what the passage is about and the intention of the writer. So this is important, and sometimes they actually like to ask you about the title. Maybe how does the title link to the article, or is it appropriate, or discuss its effectiveness. So we spoke about reading. So you need to read the passage. Ask questions about the purpose and meaning of the text. So who is the speaker and who is the audience? So who is this article aimed at? Maybe it's aimed at parents who are supposed to encourage their children to read more. I'm just teasing. Or what is the main concern of the passage? Maybe it's to just tell you more about a certain topic. Maybe about the Anne Frank Museum, when it was there, you can visit it, all those type of things. Or maybe it's about social media, criticizing or telling us the benefits of social media. What is the author's intention and how will it influence the style of writing? We'll get more to that. What language techniques are used? So the style, the tone, the diction, and the register. So it's important to note there will be all of these. A writer will use this. Find the main ideas, just like I spoke about in summarizing, of each paragraph. Now, we don't normally have that much time, so this last one will be a little bit difficult. But if you have time and you're practicing the comprehension and you have to do it for homework, or your teacher gives you an exercise in class, that is the best time to just look at each paragraph and what are they trying to tell you in that paragraph. Questions. Now we're going to go through a whole array of questions just to get you exposed, and most of you will know these. So the questions give clues about where to find the answers. And you're actually very lucky. I know at my school we do this. For the comprehension and for matrics, they always do this. They say paragraph 1, or so they're guiding you. They're telling you this is for paragraph 1, or they'll say refer to paragraph 4 and 6. So they're always guiding you, and the questions also. Questions contain instruction words. And now this is also sometimes where you misinterpret. We have all different levels, and I'll go through that at the end with you. But we have to always start with an easy question, and then it builds. So the first question you should be able to answer. And it's a question that's name or state or identify. And that's usually for 1 mark. So it's in the passage, all you have to do is you have to name it. Instruction words will tell you exactly what has to be done, just like I explained. Name, state. Also, underline keywords or ideas in the question. Now this is so important, especially when you get maybe to grade 10, 11, and 12, because a lot of the questions are 2, 3, 4 marks. So in a question, the beginning part of the sentence is asking you to name and identify or whatever, and then they're saying you must explain or discuss. So it's a 2-part question. These keywords focus on the content and will give you an idea of where to find the answers. Literal or factual questions. So what the passage is actually saying. So these literal or factual questions, the answers are always there. Inferential questions. Now these are normally your level 3 questions. They require that you read between the lines. So you need to switch on your thinking. You need to infer. You need to predict. So information is not always stated directly. Look for implied emotions, attitudes, suggested points of view. It requires you to be perceptive enough to make a judgment call. Okay. Language questions can also come up sometimes. This includes vocabulary, grammar, punctuation, and figurative language. Something that they also love to ask is to give a synonym. Okay, so the same meaning. Answers need to be given in the context of the passage. You must understand the difference between literal and figurative meanings. I love, when I used to set my exam for grade 9, I used to always ask a literal or figurative question, because sometimes it can be difficult to explain it. So it's important that you can understand what is meant literally and actually explain what is happening and the figurative meaning. Style questions. You must be able to identify the style and register in which the text is written. So is it narrative? Is it descriptive, formal, informal, simple, lofty, factual, humorous, satirical? Remember we spoke about satire in our cartoons. So satire is what? Making fun or mocking a serious situation. So you may be asked to comment on the style or to justify the appropriateness or effectiveness of the style as related to the content. So look at the language that's used. Is it formally written? Is it informal? So there you'll be able to deduce what or why it's effective. If it's informal, then you can reach a wider audience because then it's easy to read. And if they have maybe statistics or factual information, and if it's very formal, it might not grab an audience who is, let's say, academically inclined to normally, or they just want a light piece. They just want to read something that's light-hearted. Tone questions. They can ask a tone question, or attitude. So give the writer's attitude or explain the tone. Tone conveys the emotions, underlying feelings, and attitude. So here we've got that attitude. So you can grasp or understand if you've read the whole comprehension before just looking paragraph and paragraph. You can see, is this writer mocking or criticizing social media? Or are they saying it's a benefit, they believe, they'll say, in my opinion, I think this is great. That means their feelings and attitude and emotions will come across, and you need to explain that. What would the words sound like if read aloud? Can be identified through diction, sentence length, and type punctuation, so we can definitely look at that. The punctuation also, they don't really ask punctuation questions, no. Tone may be angry, apologetic, gloomy, humorous. So sometimes it's a humorous article and he's trying to make fun of it, or it's just funny. Personal, so it's actually a personal story. Impersonal, so indifferent. Mocking, persuasive, or sarcastic. So tone can be any of these, and it's very important that you don't explain the tone, but you give the actual emotion. Okay, depending on the mark allocation. So we spoke about summarizing yesterday and an actual summary in a language test. But now in a comprehension, they can also ask you to summarize or paraphrase what the writer is saying in paragraph 4. Okay, so it's important that you read it and you identify the main points and you use your own words. In a comprehension, it is vital that you use your own words. Just taking what they're saying, putting it on your page, is not showing me or your teacher that you understand what this article is about, or you understand the question that's being asked. Okay, paraphrasing would require writing in your own words. Even when you're answering questions, unless they're saying to you, quote, then you're taking that quote out and you're putting it on your piece of paper. You're writing it down. Opinions. They could say, give your opinion. So you may be asked to comment on the views expressed in the passage or give your own views on the topic. It just depends. So give your best educated or, your knowledge of that specific topic. So if it is about social media, you can explain how it is from your side and you give your opinion. Okay, there's nothing worse than a learner answering a question and it says, give your opinion, do you agree with this? And then they say, yes, I agree. But what? Why do you agree? Tell me more. I want to know your thoughts. You must be able, and this is what I was talking about, to justify or substantiate these opinions. So you can't just say, I agree with the author that social media can be detrimental to our generation. And then you must explain why. Why do you feel that way? Maybe it takes away, you find yourself scrolling through all the time and you actually don't have face-to-face connections. You talk more on the phone with people than, like texting, than face-to-face, and that maybe lowers your self-esteem. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. I've definitely been on my phone way too much lockdown, so I do feel sometimes I need to put it away, and then when I come back to my phone late that evening, I do feel a lot better. Because sometimes we just scroll and scroll and then we realize, oh my goodness, an hour has gone by and what have I actually achieved? What have I done? So it's a lot better just to sit in front of the TV and just relax and watch Netflix, because being on my phone, too much. They love to ask this question, comparing text. And I tell my learners that this will okay, I can't say always. I always say 99% of the time they're going to ask this question. So they have text A, that's your article. And they have text B, and it's usually a cartoon that is funny or humorous or mocking or whatever, and it links or it doesn't. So let's say, for example, our article was about the benefits of social media. Then the picture has a teenager on social media, maybe it's a negative depiction, and they will ask you, compare and contrast the differences between text A and text B, or does text A support text B? And I always tell my learners, you can't just say, yes, they both support the message, which is social media is good. You have to break it down and explain. So, text A talks about social media being good for learners because, I don't know why, I'm losing my mind here. Let's just think of a positive thing about social media. It connects people. There we go. I got it. It connects you even if you're so far away. So that's a pro. Then we go to text B and we say, text B has a boy who's missing his family and they live overseas and he's talking to them on the screen. Therefore, this supports text A, or therefore they're both about social media. So that question can be 4 marks, can be 2 marks. Look at your mark allocation and don't just be lazy and don't just say they're both about social media. Please. Okay, let's look at some tips. Okay, we spoke about lifting. Okay, don't lift, don't quote, use your own words as far as possible. Again, think of synonyms, break it down simpler, and also don't make your response one sentence, or you can, depending on the mark allocation. If it's 1 mark, then you are going to give 1 full sentence of what that mark is. So time it, see how much you can write, but rather write more than less. Okay, we spoke about mark allocation as a guide of the depth of your response. That's important. Answer the question in clear and simple language. Don't repeat yourself. Okay, so sometimes you just go on a tangent and you've written this much and you've said 1 mark's worth of something. So make sure you know what you want to say. This is important, okay? Don't be unnecessary, long-winded ways of saying things. Just get to the point. When quoting from the text, please use inverted commas. Okay, it's important because when you quote someone else's words, you're using those quotation inverted commas. When providing a synonym or antonym, it's mostly they ask for synonyms, it must be the same part of speech. Okay, so that's important, and the tense. So I'm trying to think of an example. Let's say you need to give a synonym for angry. So you'll say mad. You won't say maddened or cross. Yeah, what's another word for angry? Yeah. So it's important that you keep it the same. Okay. These are instruction words, and it's important for you to study this and go through it before your test or exam, because sometimes we don't actually know what they're asking us to do. So, for example, this looks very fancy. Account for. What does that mean? So this caught my grade 9s and my 8s, trapped them. The question was, account for the change in body language in Calvin and Hobbes, frame 1 to 3. And they gave the body language, but that's not what the question's asking. The question's asking, explain why his body language is like that. So you have to say, Hobbes was angry with Calvin and hit him over the head, and now Calvin is very upset. So you're explaining why he's upset, if that makes sense. So always look at these different types of instruction words. Discuss, criticize, explain. Okay, you can go through this. It gives characteristics about different concepts, give meanings in your own words, demonstrate your understanding. So you need to explain it clearly. You need to discuss. Okay. Then justify is also a fancy way of just telling me more, giving me evidence, supporting your point of view. Okay, look at their statistics, look at their facts in there, just to back up what you're saying. Could say 80% of the younger generation are insecure because of social media, or they're depressed. And then you can say, from the article it mentions that that's a statistic or a fact. Motivate. Give reasons and explain your answer. State. This is a level 1 or 2 question. Explain the important information clearly. So just give it. Give reasons if needed, critically comment. Now, if you ever see that word critically comment, that is a level 5 question or a higher order question. So our exam papers are always leveled. So there's, let's say, I can't remember the breakdown now, but let's go with 40% level 1 and 2, 20%, no, let's go 30%, 3 and 4. I can't remember it now, but I do have that guideline. And then the higher order makes up a small part. Okay, and that's something that you've got to go and critically discuss. Always ask yourself this question to try and help you get to that answer. What do you see? What do you think? And what do you feel? If you can try answer it like that, hopefully you'll get to that critical comment. Okay, so I was talking about you get Bloom's taxonomy and Barrett's taxonomy. Alright, so here are different levels. Here, literal comprehension. So this is the, you all will get this. It's easy. It's label, it's list, it's name, relate, recall, state, identify. Okay, reorganization. So there, you're collecting, you're classifying. Okay, these are not really words we would use. Maybe it's more explain. Inferential, discuss, infer. Okay, predict. Then evaluation. These two are the tricky ones. Criticize. Critically evaluate. Okay, and then the highest one, appreciation. So critically comment. So those are the more challenging ones in your test or exam. Thanks, grade 8s, for watching. We did comprehension skills today. Yesterday we did, actually it wasn't yesterday, look at me. Whew. It was quite a while ago. It was on Thursday because we had a long weekend. So you can see I'm a bit muddled up, but it's okay. We all have those days. I promise I will be better next time. There are activities. Practice your comprehension skills. I know you seem, whenever I say to my learners, let's do a little practice, they go, oh no, ma'am, it's too much reading, it's too much work. But if you put in the time, you put in that effort, you're going to reap the rewards. You're going to achieve success and you're going to do well in English, which is always a good feeling. You want to be proud of yourself and you want to know that you did the best. You don't want to look back and go, I should have just taken an hour or even just 30 minutes and gone through my comprehension. Again, grade 8s, if you have any questions, please email us. The email address is on your screen. And here's some motivation for me, especially me. No matter how you feel, get up, dress up, show up, and never give up. Thank you very much for watching. This lesson was brought to you by WorksheetCloud. I am Mrs. Goslet, and be kind to one another and to me. Bye, grade 8s.